Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. Thank you for joining me tonight. I have to do the most primitive form of live streaming. I had a infiltration into my systems. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I guess that's what it was. I've been disabled in many of my features that I use to put together my picture shows, but that's okay because I got a lot to talk about. And things are moving and changing so fast. I've got horrible news. Many of you probably already heard the initial reports. On top of everything else, these horrible ambushes that are going on in Australia, the United States, all over the place. You don't know which way to look or stay home or what. People getting jumped and I got to watch my language. What I poked in the face with a sharp object. Terrible things. But also the news about 30 minutes ago that Rob Reiner's home is right now occupied by homicide detectives, robbery and homicide detectives, because there were two bodies found, and it's where Rob Reiner and his wife domiciled. So anyway, we'll talk about that. What a terrible thing. His politics and everything aside, he created some iconic movies, and I talked about him in the past. How at the time I said how sad it was that he was looking for psychiatric help and having to commit himself to a mental institution because of his distress over one Donald J. Trump, and how sad that was. And how many memories he's brought us over the years. Anyway, we'll talk about that some more. But let me see who's come to see me tonight. My goodness, I don't have much. What in the world? Wow, what happened? I got kicked off. Could y'all hear me while hollering? I don't know what happened. I got kicked off and then my camera cut on. I tell you what, something's going on. Somebody's trying to out me. So, yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. I saw Todd said he's driving his car. Well, it's a good thing that I'm not doing a picture show tonight. So, Todd, you can just listen and enjoy. Doc, how you doing? Patriot, nice to see you. Randy, Pappy. Yeah, there's Todd. Miss Mendersu, MS Motorsports. Darla's here. Robin, Brett, nice to see you. Justin, Rain's here. Elva. All right, nice to see you all. Hi, Cole. Nice to see you all. Thank you for stopping by tonight. Isn't it terrible news? They're not saying for sure that it's Rob Reiner. Melvita, nice to see you. Graybeard. Debbie's here. Rubber Toes here. All right, but I think it's self-evident who it is, and I'm afraid to say. And you don't put that word in. If you put this word in, spell it this way: SOO aside. Okay? Or better yet, S00 aside. That throws off the rhythm. Don't put the real word in. Yeah, you might see spider web on my corner. I'm in a little alcove that I get good reception on. Hi, Debbie. Ha ha, nice to see you. Mountain, how you doing? So anyway, if you all get any updates on if it's confirmed whether or not Rob Reiner and his wife have gone to the great beyond, feel free to put them in. And I don't know how long they had been there, who reported them, or if there was any noises heard, or somebody just said, hey, you better check on these people. We hadn't seen them in a week. Or, I mean, remember what happened with, who was it? Oh, help me out. Oh gosh, everybody knows him. Him and his wife, they've been missing for a long time. They found him mummified. So I don't know what the story could be. Anne's here. Nice to see you, Sherry. Let's see, who'd I miss? Ha ha, my hat. Yeah, my hair and my hat. I got a wool hat I've had for 20 years. That's what I'm wearing right now. Gene Hackman, thank you, Mountain. Yeah, Gene Hackman. Graybeard got it too. Debbie, yeah, what? That's what I say, what? So we'll find out. But I can tell you this. I remember when I was reading his tweets and stuff, and I've always felt that Rob Reiner was somebody that could possibly be reached and had a heart. And I said, you don't create the type of filmmaking is an art, like Princess Bride. You don't make stuff like that if you don't have some part of you that is decent and good. And he's got a filmography that is amazing. And I was strongly thinking when he was putting up that he was checking himself into a mental institution, trying to reach him, which I probably could have. You'd be surprised, folks. There's an old saying in golf. It's not how you drive, it's how you arrive. You got to be able to finesse and know how to putt. You don't whack or drive. You don't necessarily, you can find ways to reach people. And he spent, I forgot how long he spent in a institution of some type. And I forgot about, I didn't really forget about it, but I had a strong indication in my mind at the time that he was vulnerable to what I'm suspecting happened tonight. And unfortunately, sounds like he had someone else equally. I could be wrong. It might not have been a mutual checkout, if you get what I'm saying. But that's what my instincts tell me. That it was a mutual, what aside. I could be wrong. Maybe somebody came in and robbed him. I don't know. But I'm 99% positive that the two people that were found in that house are Rob Reiner, Meathead, and his wife. And you don't know. People get like super drunk and get themselves whipped up. Just before I went live, I was looking at some stuff that was happening interwebs, and I check in on cuckoo sites like Midas Trash, Pale Network, their community page, and Occupy Democrats. I mean, that is when you are a stone cold liberal. You follow that stuff and eat it up. They lap it up, and then they put their comments on their community page, and some of it is sad. The delusion is so sad, and the reaching and searching for reasons to be miserable or angry. Why would you want to live your life that way? And if I can sit here and say, what was it? When did he check himself into a facility? 6 months to a year ago, somewhere in there. If I could say to myself, I would like to find some way of reaching Rob Reiner, as hateful as he's been, as vile the things he said about us and about Trump. I would still have welcomed the opportunity to try to connect with him and talk to him. Why don't they have that in their bodies, in their brains, even with their own family? Why do they destroy the Thanksgiving dinner? Why do they stick their nose up in the air and turn around and march away whenever somebody doesn't agree with them? What the hell is it with people? But I can tell you this, if that's the case, that they did that to themselves, they had everything. They had fame, they had comfort, wealth, a huge mansion. They could get the best food every single night, the best medical care, all the comforts you could ever dream of. They could help others. They could change somebody's life with a drop out of their bucket. How rare that is. And then to end it, end yourself, if that's what they did. I'm stunned because the reason I was a few minutes late because I was trying to get some updates. I'm stunned. I thought he was a person that might help turn the tide. Like, I don't know who Nicki Minaj is. If somebody had said, hey, I've heard of her name, I know she's a pop singer. And I subconsciously, unfairly, I probably threw her name in the pop singer bucket, which most of them are liberals, and they run the gamut all the way down to like P. Diddy or whatever his name is. So I didn't have that good opinion. I really couldn't visualize her face. But if somebody said, hey, Nicki Minaj, but it turns out that her music is not offensive. She's in her, mid-30s, maybe. I don't know. Been around a long time. Hadn't put herself in any vile situations. And turns out she's a Trump supporter and is supporting J.D. Vance in 2028. And I was thinking, well, this is the pop culture being brave enough now to come out with their conservative views. And it's important. Okay, it's culturally important to have people do that. And I thought, would it be something that if I had a video that didn't get to play you. I played for you all a while back, but I thought it needed to be played again, where a woman was saying, I am recovering. I have recovered from TDS. And she was on one of the news programs saying it. She said, I look better. I feel better. I sleep better. And I was being fooled. I was being drugged down a miserable road. And when I realized it and got over my TDS, my life improved. Of course, you'll never see that person play much again. I probably will have to find that again because all my data has been destroyed today. That's what I was going to start off talking about when I said I'm streaming on the most primitive way I can. I can't even put up a thumbnail. I can't access my apps. I can't go into PicMonkey or video editor. I can't pull up anything in my files. They've all been corrupted. And I told you all that I was getting notifications that I had to give them identification. Google. And I asked the other night, did any of you all have that experience? Have you been contacted by Google and told you have to verify who you are? It's unnerving. Unnerving. Yeah, they didn't have Jesus, Darla. That's right. If you don't have Jesus, you ain't got nothing. Hi, Sue. Yeah. Well, he put himself in a mental emotional problems. He put himself in a mental facility. That's right, Randy. What does it gain a man? What if he gains the whole world, loses his soul? I think he may, you never know what he was involved in. Yeah, Melvita, we've been wondering about the numbers behind the names. Yeah, it's been doing that for a couple of weeks. So I'm looking to see if anybody had an experience like that, because I got contacted again early this morning about verifying who. I can send them a picture or an ID or driver's. Who's got to do that? Who's got to do that? And I just typed back on an email. I just said I told them my age, and I said I'm an old man. Thank you very much. And that's the last thing I said. And I was uploading videos ostensibly for a picture show tonight, which I said I didn't used to do those. Now I'm doing them all the time. And then my device, everything got corrupted. So I don't know what I'm going to do. YouTube has switched to our Google account names. Well, I put mine in there and nobody sees any numbers. Maybe, hey, I didn't get a screenshot of it, but somebody's talking about Bill Gates has bought a bunch of satellites and is trying to do some big information pot that he wants to dump everybody's information, and God knows what for. He doesn't want at least half of us on the face of the earth anyway. He said so. I don't know who else he could be talking about. I'm not giving him nothing, Felix. I'm not giving him nothing. I will. They've been saying for a long time. Use a zero when you put in the word communists, okay? commune. Archie Bunker said communes of communists. Yeah, you know what the cloud is, don't you? Everybody says, oh, it's in the cloud, and they look up at the sky. No, the cloud is a bunch of huge AWS servers. They are physical supercomputers. That's where they are. They're not in some damn cloud in the sky. But I'm a weirdo in that I went, I had to, you know, how long ago was that? About 12 years ago. I had to go to the hospitable, and they had 0 records on me. Like I would never, like I fell out of the sky. They found me under a cabbage leaf. They had nothing on me. Didn't know my blood type, nothing. And but you know, and they still wouldn't know if I wouldn't have had to go. I'm one of those types. So anyway, no, they've never gotten any information about me beyond a debit card that I use for stuff like eBay and stuff like that. But no, they've got nothing on me. Disable locations. Always have done that. Hi, Linda. Nice to see you. A good one. Friday night, they went wacko. Phones went wacko. Apps appeared. Well, I told you all a couple of weeks ago that all these videos appeared. Horrific videos. What else was it about? It was about Bolsonaro's head on a soccer field being kicked around, or a meme of his head in a soccer field, his decapitated head in a net, and a bunch of videos about conflicts. I'll put it that way. I don't see what that question is in relationship to, Debbie. Why did T have them over to a dinner meeting? MEATING meeting? We don't know what you're talking about, who you're talking about. He's probably had plenty of people over for dinner. I'm scrolling back at the questions. I don't see what you're responding to. Kind of hard to have a conversation that way. Oh, Gates. They say keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Bill Gates might have been, who knows? Who knows if that's even Bill Gates? We're living in a simulation at some times, wouldn't you say? I mean, a lot of people who, you know, are in here talking about, you know, all different kinds of things. Masks I can buy, doubles I can buy, but like physical clones, you know, it might be a little much. But, you know, one thing I was going to put in my thumbnail was Tina Peters, POW. Now, if anybody gets any updates on what happened to, what's his name? Reiner, let us know, please. And we're going to talk about other things. I was going to put Tina Peters, POW. She's a prisoner of war. because we are dealing with an insurrection, an insurgency. Okay, we're dealing with irregular warfare. All right, like General Flynn said, fifth dimensional warfare. That does not mean we are not at war. We are. And when you look at the laws of war, captured territory, how everybody's supposed to behave and treat one another and treat civilians and treat unlawful combatants and treat uniformed soldiers and all this kind of stuff. And there's, captured territory. There's battlefields, but captured territory, I would throw into that bucket. Colorado, Arizona, California, DC, which I think DC's been liberated. It was formerly captured territory. Muriel Bowser, as young as she is, just walking away from being mayor, and that police chief. So anyway, and there's other captured territory, okay? But Tina Peters is a prisoner, a political prisoner, putting it mildly. But really, she's a prisoner of war. She is part of the counterinsurgency. And, when people say, oh, this person didn't really die, it's just they're hanging out with Princess Di and Elvis and waiting for, things to smooth over and then they'll all reveal themselves. Well, no, I do not know of a war ever in history where good people didn't die, and lots of them, or been taken prisoner or wounded. Some missing in action, never been found. I said at the time, Corey Compatore was KIA, that he died in service of his country because we were fighting an irregular war. We're trying to recapture the office of the presidency that was taken during the illegal psychological warfare campaign, which Trump is exposing with no uncertainty. The election was stolen. That's why I have in my thumbnail title, Federal Records. Tina Peters, Donald Trump put out in a truth. Mary, we spent the first 20 minutes talking about it, and I've asked people to put updates in as it comes along. So you might want to go back after the program and listen to the first 20 minutes of my broadcast, or 25 minutes actually. Now we're talking about captured territory in this irregular warfare, whose primary weapon is illegal psychological warfare campaigns. Their secondary weapon is guerrilla warfare, and it's worldwide. This is a Marxist communist revolution that takes on many guises, like the Islamo-fascists that ambushed those people. These are ambushes now. Ambushes, even the one that happened at the university, Brown University. These people are ambushed. And the soldiers in Syria, Islamo-fascists, what you call them, National Socialists, like the NAZIs, call them communists, okay, if you want to. It's all Marxism. It's all tyrannical. All right? The United States is called the Great Experiment for one reason, because its founding document has no room for tyranny, no matter what they want to call it. do they want to call it? Socialism, National Socialism, Democratic Socialism, Marxism, fascism, communism, whatever they want to call it. It's tyranny. So our founding document takes us back to a form of government we haven't seen, as I've said before, since the book of Judges, when Israel didn't even have a king. They lived by the word of the prophet, the prophets. So, in other words, you had individual freedom, which was shown and allowed since Genesis. Adam and Eve were free to do whatever they wanted. And as we all know, they chose poorly. They chose poorly. Such is our nature. Original sin. I've said it before, God didn't act like Stalin or a dictator, follow people around, spy on them, make them do the right thing. No. Presented the facts. The wages of sin are death. Don't disturb the fruit of the tree of knowledge, and you'll be fine. And then they were left to their own devices. They used their own God-given logic, thought, reason, which is what animals do not possess. We possess. And we didn't get very far. So anyway, to grow intellectually and spiritually, we have to go through the human experience. And that's what our Constitution supposedly allows us to do. So now we've got Tina Peters in jail because she was, as an elected official, a sworn official, she was trying to preserve federal election records, which is her obligation. But she was tried and convicted through offices and auspices and power structures that have been captured by the insurgency. We're the counterinsurgency. Remember, I showed you all that document, the PDF file, which has been wiped out of my phone. Maybe that's why they wiped my phone out. Somebody wiped everything out. I can't even take a screenshot of something. But I'm gonna try. I got a friend. I'm gonna try to get all that. See if I can get it worked out. I don't know. But it didn't happen by accident. I didn't spill coffee on it. I didn't push the wrong buttons. I didn't go on some crazy website. I just answered an email from Google services, Google Play or whatever the hell it's called. So anyway, remember I told you all on Utizzle, I keep an eye on these ads. You know, a lot of times you're scrolling by and it's a YouTube ad, and you know it's a YouTube ad, so you really don't focus on what it is, what it's doing, what it's saying, what its purpose is. Well, I've learned that if you want to know what the counterinsurgency is doing, because they control YouTube, or they have controlled it, the hell I do my pen. I got to go back to my legal pad and usually a number 2 pencil, but I've been using a pen. But anyway, so I started paying attention to the ads a long time ago. I took a screenshot of one where it was looked like it was an ad for some kind of medicine, a overweight woman dancing or something like that, if you're just scrolling on by. or waiting to skip the ad. You're not paying attention. But it was an ad about transitioning. Okay, the overweight woman dancing on the screen was not a woman. Okay, and this was a YouTube ad. You know, how to accept others and how to be accepted. You know, and that was a long time ago. I played it on one of my videos, and so I noticed the push for a video to watch coming up in the ads, and you could click on it, would play the video. What was the topic? The topic was that you have more power than any king. You have more power than any government. You yourself. Click here to find out more. Jury nullification. Okay, I haven't seen it in about a month, but I saw it for 2 months straight, and I brought it up in a couple of my broadcasts. And I said, they're trying to get the message out there, and I'm sure this wasn't the only venue, okay, to put the seed in people's minds that they could defy the law for their own political beliefs or warped moral beliefs by letting criminals go through jury nullification. Remember me talking about that, folks? You guys are my witness. What happens? Letitia James. Nobody wants to, oh no. Well, you got all this evidence that's just black and white that she profited off of misrepresenting her house and committed a felony. Bad. We don't think it's that important. Jake Sullivan, not Jake Sullivan. It might have been him. Who was the first one that Durham prosecuted? Well, we see what the prosecutor's saying, but we just don't think it's that important. So we didn't convict him because we don't think it's that important. Everything's a good thing, Graybeard, till it gets abused by the left. How do you convict criminals when you have criminals on the jury? Jury nullification is to keep people from getting railroaded, not to prevent justice from occurring. I believe that, Debbie. This is the second time. The first one I told you all about, it was about a year ago. The phone got totally wiped while it was in my hand. That was on a clandestine account. Okay, I won't get into the details about it, but you can have, and somebody inadvertently outed me, okay, and they wiped everything out, the Google account, the phone, everything. And yeah, there's ways to redo. No, everything that was on that device is gone forever. But I could create another. Yeah, Mary, they confirmed it was them. It was Reiner and his wife, not somebody saying, well, we don't know if it was them or not, but I was like, no, 99% it's them. And did they do it to themselves is what I'm saying. Yeah, TMZ is who usually comes up with the first So anyway, I was talking about the jury notification ads on YouTube. The push for it. Well, now they got ads on YouTube for Netflix, right? Well, watch the show. They got their ads. Watch for it. Watch for it. They got a show called Wednesday. And Wednesday Addams is supposed to be. Okay. You remember Wednesday Addams on the Addams Family, the little girl with the pigtails. And what was her brother's name? But anyway, Wednesday, what was his name? Little fat boy with a striped shirt. You know, I have got 3 books from Charles Addams before the Addams Family TV show. I got 2 novels that he wrote with his artwork in there showing the Addams Family, Lurch and Morticia. And yeah, I think he was published those in the 1950s. I wonder if they're worth anything. Pugsley, yeah, Pugsley. Wednesday, but anyway, they got Wednesday. She's all grown up now. Of course, she's got to have this not gothic air about her. Gothic is kind of like going back. I've already discussed that about with Ozzy Osbourne and stuff like that. It was kind of a juvenile. It's skated a little too close to the dark arts for me. But now they're going all the way over to the dark arts with Wednesday Addams. But when you see the thumbnail or the picture for this Netflix show, Wednesday, she's got a werewolf behind her, a muscular werewolf embracing her from behind. People might say, "Oh, well, you're being too picky. You know, that's just you're not being realistic about it, or being too judgmental." Well, not really. When we've got some character sitting in jail and sitting in a courtroom who was fully enamored with bestiality and furries and all this, they're romanticizing that. Yeah, I already talked about Chunk Uger, talking about pleasuring farm animals. And Netflix is trying to buy Warner. I read a news article that Congress is rising up or acting like they're not very happy with Netflix going to buy Warner Brothers because they're trying to destroy the culture and they're trying to introduce satanic filth. Because Wednesday Addams, the Addams Family was a family show, and it was mostly, something that parents could watch with their children. It was primarily a child show, but with enough adult characters and themes and comedy that the parents didn't feel like they had to sit and watch Barney, So it was a family show. Well, I think you're probably taking it past that, trying to feed into this weirdo stuff. But anyway, as you know, Paramount, that Ellison character, billionaire, is stepping in with a better offer. So now these congressmen and women who have been beholding to Netflix and Obama's and Susan Rice and whoever's the main puppeteers of the cabal behind all that crowd, they weren't against it at first. But now that you've got Paramount coming in with a better offer, Oh, now they're going to act like, all right, we don't want Netflix to buy. Well, it really doesn't matter. Because they shareholders expect the board, whoever's in charge of the board, they have fiduciary responsibility for the better deal anyway. But you see Congress trying to act like, yeah, we're doing the right thing. I wonder if they'd still be thinking that way if there wasn't that other offer from Paramount. But anyway, CNN is going to go through an enema when that happens. CNN, watch for the CNN enema after Paramount buys Netflix. Buys Warner Brothers. And our classics and everything will be more likely be preserved. Yeah, Jerry, Barney wasn't bad for kids. But as an adult, you wouldn't want to sit there and watch it. When did the Addams Family come on? It came on prime time, like 7, 8 o'clock at night, when the family would watch TV. Kind of like when Bonanza came on and Lost in Space and stuff like that. Well, if you have a, whatever that phone company is, everybody reminded me last time, I already forgot. That's right, Graybeard. Wednesday used to be cute and odd, but after waking up, it's just evil and pretending it's cute. It's morbid. It's morbid. Sexualizing morbidity. And now, apparently, some kind of relationship with a wolf. But anyway, whatever that phone cell company is, T-Mobile. If you have a T-Mobile phone, whether you know it or not, you're listed as a Netflix customer. That's how they artificially pump there. Thank you, Rain. That's how they artificially pump their subscriptions up through T-Mobile. And I wonder how many T-Mobile accounts are paid for by the government. When they do this, oh, you're so poor and you need communications and your kids need phones too. We have a social services program to give you discounted phones. I bet you saw T-Mobile. And part of that money goes to Netflix. How much you want to bet? Their ability to loot the public treasury in the name of goodness. I was going to tell a story because we see now how everybody says, oh, Somalis. Well, it's not just them. It's not just them, as we're finding out. But they're the in the spotlight right now. We've been getting looted and taken advantage of for decades by many groups besides the Somalis. So the phone companies is one. If you find out there's government programs to give, they call them Obama phones. Okay. Well, they're buying stuff up. The government's paying for it. And you can get in there somehow. What was the story I heard the other day? There was a program to get minority businesses, give them preference. Well, I'll just use this as an example. They needed to buy a 200,000 Whopper choppers for something, the government. Well, somebody got a hold of a friend who was a minority and said, buy all the Whopper choppers from Target and then mark them up and say you're in the business of Whopper choppers and sell it to the government. They pick you because you're disadvantaged minority. Now, the people running the program that needs the Whopper choppers,
They could just buy them straight from Target. No, but that's not a minority-owned business. Over here is Seymour's Wappa Choppas. Right, Seymour? Yeah. Well, Seymour's charging $8 more per Wappa Chopper. He's a disadvantaged minority. What do you think? He can get them for the same rate as Target? See, that's why minorities can't succeed. Okay. We'll buy them from Seymour's Wappa Choppas. Seymour makes $800,000. $8 times 100,000 Wappa Choppas. Where'd you get them, Seymour? Target. Why didn't the government buy them from Target? Target's not a minority-owned company. See how they work. Hi, Sissy. So anyway, they've got a scam, as I've said before, at every level. Everywhere you can, they're like the mafia. All they do is think of ways to get their fingers in the cookie jar. Well, anybody find out? I'm looking here to Pritzker. He signed a bill for assisted, aside. It's legal now, supposedly, in Illinois. If you feel like you just can't take it anymore, they'll help you out. It's covered in insurance. Aside. With dignity. So I wonder, no, I don't think the Reiners lived in Illinois. But it seems to me they checked themselves out. And, it's such a horrible thing for someone to be in a mental state so as to end their life. We want to avoid that as much as possible. Why in the hell would you put it in a bill? And, of course, people say, oh, well, their lives are so miserable. 9 times out of 10, whoever takes advantage of that, take advantage. Whoever gets involved in that government program to end their own life, it's going to be over heirs, family members that don't want to deal with you, that belittle you or tell you really should. Grandpa, you really should. You're not happy. Oh, look at you. Instead of looking at positive things, I don't want to get into it, but I've been around a lot of people in the final months, weeks, and days and hours of their lives. And they appreciated every second. And some were very ill. And they're able to control a lot of things about pain and discomfort. And I told you about the friend of mine who passed away when he was 98, I believe he was. And his father had died about 25 years earlier. And I was his friend then, and he told me his dad passed. And I said, I'm sorry about that. And he was talking about, he said, my father learned something new every day till the day he died. He learned something new every day. And I never forgot that. And it cheapens life. And they put a cloak of nobility, like they're doing somebody a favor. And that's how these liberals operate. They get up in the morning thinking about how they can control everybody else's life, and they think they're doing the world a favor when they can't even take care of themselves. So anyway, so you end up with as Pope John Paul said, this culture of death. So, yeah, Pritzker, thanks a lot. That's right. Every second of our life is a gift. Life is precious in all stages and conditions. And it creates an atmosphere where people feel like they're not doing anything wrong by encouraging somebody to end their own life. And as a matter of fact, the state is encouraging, giving it as a noble option. You know, I had a very close family member, a close friend, I was going to say. I don't want to talk too much about my personal life, but I had somebody very close to me that had stage 4 non-Hodgkin lymphoma. And without getting into too much of the drama, ended up having one doctor that was willing to treat that person. They have a board. I think it was like four physicians recommend treatment. And 3 of them said, hey, it's, palliative care. That's it. Palliative care, whatever they call it. That's it. And one doctor said, I want, the person's young, strong, physically strong, and I think they can endure kitchen sink therapy, where they throw everything plus the kitchen sink at you. And that's what they did. And while this person was in the hospital going through this rather grueling regimen, lost 200 pounds of tumor weight. Lymphoma, you get these huge tumors in your abdomen and legs. It's awful. So 200 pounds over I think it was a 2-week period, a 20-day period, maybe 3 weeks. And that was 20 years ago, living to this day. And while I was at the hospital, there was magazines that would come, and one of them was about Oncology Today. And it had an article in there about a type of cancer. I would have to look back at what type it was. I might still have that magazine. But they came out with a miracle cure for it. And they had in the article a woman who had already picked out had her headstone made. She had been given weeks to live. And that was in the Oncology Today magazine. It's not an old wives' tale. And that was confirmed by her doctors. And it was kind of a cancer, a blood cancer of her blood. And they found a cure. And her and hundreds of other people who were at death's door turned around and survived. And you never know. You never know when something's going to come around. So that's why I adamantly oppose this type of legislation, especially when people cloak themselves in do-gooder mentality. But anyway, nothing else on what's his name, but that it confirmed it was them. So we'll see what the cause was. Did they end up taking their own lives? What a what a terrible thing. So anyway, I was talking about Tina Peters being a prisoner of war in captured territory. Trump, giving a speech, said that we had truckloads of evidence about the elections being stolen. 2020. He's not calling it a matter of speculation, a matter of conjecture, a matter of argument. It's a matter of fact. A matter of fact that the election was stolen. 2020. We got coming in by the truckload. Of course, he's referring to Colorado too, where Tina Peters is. He's already demanded her release. He's already given her a pardon. There was a person being interviewed by Steve Bannon that said Trump's position, the Trump administration and the Department of Justice position is that she was protecting federal election records. That's why his pardon should be valid. The state can't overrule the judgment of the president in the area of pardons. Well, wait, it's a state crime she got convicted of. Oh, no, wait a minute. Were these charges brought to obfuscate or to obstruct Tina Peters from doing her job, which was to protect federal election records, to enforce the law to the best of her ability? Can the state require an elected official, a sworn officer, require them to violate federal law? Well, if you don't violate federal law, it's a state crime? Is that what you're saying? You committed a state crime by upholding federal law. Do you all get what I'm saying? Because that's what they're saying. No. She broke the law because of Smartmatic's rules and the contract that Smartmatic had with the state. That's why, not because of federal law. Oh, so Smartmatic calls the shots. We put people in jail for 9 years, or what some bozos as Smartmatic say. So anyway, you get the point. And we're going to see how that turns out. But you got to cross your T's and dot your I's. And timing is important. I think there's going to be a bucket load of crap dumped on a lot of heads in a lot of different states. And I hope it all happens at one time. Oh, really? Knife wounds. Oh, my God. Outlandish. How you doing? He's saying that Rob Reiner and his wife were victims of some manner of assault. Now, I doubt that that's the way they would choose to go. If the reporting is correct, that they passed away from wounds from a KNIFE. Who would do? Oh, my goodness. Both of them. Oh, yeah, that's right. They said they were doing an update. And their update was in violation of federal law. So they'll say, well, Tina Peterson resisted arrest. Tina Peterson kicked an officer, assaulted an officer. They ambushed her. They knew damn good. They could have contacted her attorney, had herself come for arraignment like every other high-profile person that's in a political BS. Do you think they jumped Fannie Willis like that when she was leaving lunch with her friends? She was shocked. She was taken aback. She was an elected official. You don't do, that's not the way you handle elected officials. Jump them when they're walking out of a restaurant from having lunch and totally unaware that somebody's issued a warrant. These liberals are vicious. Those cops that jumped her like that. The sheriff should have said, well, Miss Peters, we need, called Tina Peters' attorney. She needs to turn herself in or come by for to see the judge for an arraignment, something like that. But they treated her like a drug dealer or a thug. And she's elderly. And she's got these plumber crack deputies grabbing her in a parking lot. Of course she's going to kick and wiggle. What the hell do you think? So it was unlawful arrest, in my opinion. And when you get right down to brass tacks, you got a right to defend yourself from an unlawful arrest. Even if it means taking your little size 5 shoe and kicking somebody. Whatever cop said he was assaulted ought to be, well, I ain't gonna say it. SLAPPD. Right in the chops. Now, how's that feel for an assault? But anyway. So she's not the only one. Donald Trump was a victim of the insurgency when the charges were filed against him. Marxist entities, through lawfare, causing a deprivation of his rights, being required to sit in a courtroom for hours, technically detained, technically under arrest. No freedom of movement. Got to pose for a mugshot. Got to be fingerprinted. Blah, blah, blah. He used another term that was interesting. He said, we got all the ammunition. Did you hear him say that? He said, we got all the ammunition. And he brought up California. He said, California is so rigged. They've got 38 million ballots. That's what Trump said. I copied it down, right? I wrote it down. I put my spectacles on, and I made sure I was getting the digits right. 38. Okay, I ciphered it down, 38, and I looked back at it again with my spectacles on, and it said million, and I wrote down million. 38 million ballots in one state. That's almost half of Trump's last vote total. That's almost half of Joe Biden's 81 million in one state. You think they got 38 million people that voted? But they used mail-in voting. Something I have been told via email that I'm not allowed to talk about. The Department of Justice is suing Colorado, Hawaii, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Fulton County, Georgia. What are they suing them over? They're suing them to turn over their damn voter rolls. Why do they want to hide their voter rolls? Oh, the same reasons they want to hide their food stamp information. Just give us the money. We know what we're doing. Okay? You don't have any business looking at who we give this money to. Just give us the money. Another scam that we know about where we're being looted for decades. The money's going to be in the trillions, folks. Trump's all but standing on rooftops screaming, we're getting trillions that we should have been getting for generations from tariffs. We're stopping literally trillions that are being stolen from us. You take those trillions, added to these trillions, and hell no, we won't have to pay taxes, okay? That's just redistributing the wealth of the American people into the principalities that have run Europe for millennia. And they get to play in our sandbox for free, plus pick our pockets. Well, not anymore. How simple of a concept can you get? That's why I put a comment in on something I saw on ABC News. They were complaining about Trump broke several laws when he demolished the East Wing. Oh, I just put liberals are sickening. And I got a thumbs up from somebody. It's sickening. What I just said about tariffs, about stolen money from our social programs, adding up to trillions for generations. They don't get the damn concept. What laws did Trump break with the ballroom? Oh, he was supposed to go to the Department of Historical Architecture Records and get a permit. Listen, all these programs, all these departments have been infiltrated by whack-o Marxists, whack job Marxists. Okay? When Obama tore down the East Wing and built a basketball court, those same entities, oh, we approve, here's your permit, because it's so culturally appropriate to put up a basketball court at the White House. It's so wonderful. Barack Hussein Obama. And they would say, oh, no, you can't do it. They have no authority. They keep a record, an architectural record of the condition of the White House, the construction methods, the history of it, and the changes that are made, who made the changes, how it was done. Then that's what they do. They keep records. Donald Trump does not have to go kiss their ass for approval to do a damn thing. You give them a little bit of responsibility, and they take it as authority. That is a typical commie. You're responsible for keeping the records, the history of this building, the chronology of it, and that's what it makes sure that people like the Clintons don't steal the furniture, okay, and the silverware. Remember that? That's what you do. Oh, that means Donald Trump's got to come to us. May I put up a ballroom instead of a basketball court? No, you idiots. So I put in there, liberals are sickening, and somebody put a comment, Trump is responsible for this disaster. We're responsible, he's saying they're sickening. And he's responsible for this disaster. He should have gone through the proper steps before he made these changes. And I put in what I just said earlier. A ballroom's way more important to this country, especially for foreign dignitaries, than Obama's basketball court. That's not a historical icon. It's more important for foreign dignitaries to have a place to gather with dignity than something for LeBron James. I think I put in that the person was an end stage TDS. And then 10 minutes later, I heard about Rob Reiner and his wife. I said, oh my God, that might be end stage TDS for real. So anyway, they take, you give them a little responsibility and they think they have authority. You know, I saw something else too about this voter business. 218,000 voters in Arizona, another captured territory, were supposedly marked in error. It's just a mistake. They said, oh, these voters proved they were U.S. citizens. Check the box. Check the box that they showed they were U.S. citizens. Oh, that check on the box was a mistake. 218,000 of them. So watch for that. How the hell do you make that kind of mistake? Oh, but Donald Trump can't put a ballroom in place of a basketball court that nobody uses. Obama could barely use it. Little sissy running around on basketball court. For what? How much time he spend on there? What kind of guests did he have? King of England? But we made a mistake with the 218,000 Arizona voters. Well, how do we handle this blatant fraud? They stole the most precious thing we have. Control of our own government. Our freedom. They stole our freedom. And then they compounded that criminal act with dozens and dozens and dozens of other deprivations of rights and criminal acts. Like Tina Peters sitting in jail. What's the best way to handle that? What's the best way to show the American people these truckloads of evidence? How do you get around a news culture, I'll call it, that has also been captured by Marxist forces? Criminal entities in charge of our news media. How can you inform the public? It makes me think of the broadcast we all heard about years ago that there may be, what do they say, 4 different 8-hour segments of storytelling. Is that what it was? That would be shown 24 hours a day. Part 1 is 8 hours. Part 2 is 8 hours. Part 3 is 8 hours. Remember that? Do you think that's a thing? I was going to put in my title, Painful Patience. Because we're so patient. It hurts. And for Trump, it's got to be painful to keep your cool, to not want to knock the daylights out of these criminals and put them in jail, and maintain patience and dignity and continue on with the necessary functions of government and dealing with foreign entities and a crooked news media and a corrupted Congress that sits there and calls you a war criminal. And then you never know what's going to happen, like what happened in Syria. We had envoys meeting in Syria, and one of the people with the entourage was a plant and ambushed our soldiers, ending the lives of 3. One was an interpreter, 2 were soldiers, and then that person also lost their life. And I heard some Syrian soldiers also were either injured or lost their lives. You have these things. Trump said it was ISIS, an ISIS attack, and there would be serious retaliation. So, it takes a very special person to put up with that kind of painful patience, okay? I used the term before in the past, a quiet fury. That's what we've been having to deal with. You can't help but be furious knowing that these people did what they did in 2020. So blatant. And that's what makes you even angrier. But you have to have that painful patience when you're dealing with friends and family members when things are so damn blatant as to what they did to our most precious rights, the right of self-governance. They stole it from us. But in order to maintain civility, we have to endure this time of awakening. I saw a report of Rand Paul. Rand Paul said that the redistricting could cause violence. Trump had put out a truth about Indiana, that all the Republicans who voted for that damn redistricting need to be gotten the hell out, need to be primaried and gotten the hell out. And they're saying, oh, well, we just didn't think it was right to not give any Democrat seats because it's not fair. Well, you idiots. Don't you know there's 9 states in this union that do not have one Republican representative in the Congress of the United States? 9 states. And it's been that way for years, for decades. Anywhere from 6 to 9 states have 0 Republicans, even though they've got 45% Republican population. Those people have no representation. You idiots, you have to fight fire with fire. If they gave just one crappy seat per state to a Republican, that would be 9 seats more than we have now. But no, they want to cloak their crippling of our attempts to redistrict in nobility. We want to be fair. Well, you're in a fight where they ain't fighting fair, okay? And you're going to get your ASS kicked, and ours kicked. So that tells me that you're on their side. That you're a damn rhino, that you're captured yourself, whether it's because you're afraid of being exposed to your own criminality, or somebody's threatening you, or extorting you, or bribing you. I don't know what the reason is or why. Or you are a complete damned idiot. Which one is it? And Rand Paul. Oh, there might be violence. There might be violence if it's redistricted. Well, we've had 9 states not giving us one damn representative. Hadn't seen any violence then. What does that say? That if they lose some seats, they get violent. But when we don't get any seats for years, we don't get violent. What does that tell you? That maybe they have a problem. And we have jails for people that have that kind of a problem. They look for reasons to put us in those jails. Just look at J and then 6. Setups, frame jobs, coordinated slander and libel through these institutions they've captured. What we're to do is keep on keeping on, Stanton. What are we to do? Well, we got Donald Trump back in, and he's going after the states I just mentioned. And what we do is we have these discussions so that when you discuss things with your friends and family member, you can frame it in a way that's civil, in a way that's rational. That's one more reason, and I used to say this many times in my early broadcasts, to stay away from the fantastic. Always keep things in real world. Real world. I said, don't talk about lizard people. Don't talk about clones. Don't talk about aliens. Don't talk about tunnels underground. Keep it all on surface level, no matter what you believe, because you want people to believe you. You want to talk what's real and what can be seen and verified. That's what we do. You don't hear me talking about Jewish people popping up out of the ground and a hatch in the ground and shooting Charlie Kirk and then dropping down in the hatch. You hear me talk about an emaciated weirdo with no future who knows his life is going to be a disgusting mess of debauchery that did what he did to a good man who is living a good life with a good future and going to leave a legacy of children, something that freak could never accomplish. And that's what built his hate up and caused him to do what he did. It wasn't a Jewish person in the hatch in the ground. Boy, that really burns me up. All it takes is one juror. One juror. I got reasonable doubt. It might have been a Jew in the underground that popped up out of the ground and shot Charlie Kirk. He should already be fried. What's the deal with this guy that went to Brown University? What's the deal with this guy? What was his name? Benjamin Erickson. Breaking news, breaking news. JR put that out. I heard about what's his name and his wife from Frank on the NPC show put up something That's the first I heard about it. And I went to X and found out some more about it. And the first I heard about who was the guy at Brown University was from JLR Investigates. Breaking news, breaking news. This guy went all the way from Wisconsin to Rhode Island. And they say he was a Pentagon sniper. Young guy. Young guy. There's a lot of people who work security around D.C. and surrounding areas, and apparently he's one of them. Well, they say he had a purported history of mental illness. Oh, they released him. All right. Well, we got an update from Outlandish. How you doing, Outlandish? Well, they were interested in him. I thought it was odd. I mean, they picked him up at a Hampton Inn in Rhode Island, I believe. And I thought, well, that's odd. And of course, everybody went and found his social media, whatever they could find on him. And somebody typed up an article. I have no idea whether he had a history of mental illness or not. But somebody said he did. Does that mean it's true? No. A Pentagon sniper. That's an odd title. But it said he was a in special ops. But now they've released him. And they said he had a history with Brown University. What kind of history? Did he go to school there or what? Was he dating Aunt Lucy from, I don't know. But now that they've let him go, now what? They got a video of some guy head wrapped up or knit cap pulled down really low and dark clothes walking around a corner. Larry, I think anybody could say that there's so much going on in this world. I could say, in the next couple of weeks, some big stuff's going to happen. Don't ask me how I know, but some big stuff's going to happen. Anybody say, Mountain Man was right, because big stuff's happening every day. Every foggy day, there's something happening. No specifics, just hold on to your hat. Something big's going to happen. And then somebody in Australia, you got two guys, a father and son team. First day of Hanukkah or day before Hanukkah or whatever celebration, goes out and did what they did. Oh, Mountain Man was right. Oh, Candace Owen was right. Of course, something big. I'm going to go ahead and save Candace Owen the time. Some big things are going to happen in the next few weeks. Some big things are going to happen before Christmas. Okay? That's my prediction. So when big things happen, you just remember, I got the inside scoop. Tune in to Mountain Man. Now, if I was monetized and clicks equaled money, and I was pulling that kind of crap for clicks, when I'm just saying the reality, but I'm not monetized, right? This is a totally viewer-supported channel. So it does me no good, and I wouldn't do it anyway. Even if I was monetized, I wouldn't prey on people's, I wouldn't play mind games with people. I wouldn't play mind games having people live in fear. We're not supposed to live in fear. We're supposed to help our friends and family member understand what's going on. What's been going on since Donald Trump came down the escalator, and as we know before, that we're doing an operation to change the hearts and minds of this country, to reclaim our country from a very sophisticated, illegal psychological warfare campaign. Right? That the media is biased, criminal entity. And, you know, a lot of people that work for the media are too stupid to see it. They really are. There's two terms. Everybody knows useful idiots, right? Well, there's another term. Have you all heard it? It's called useful innocence. Useful innocence. The innocent people that have been affected by sophisticated psychological warfare campaigns. They're useful and they're innocent. Now it's common knowledge. You are right, Graybeard. It's the seed you're supposed to, you got to change. You can't just put that term in there. You got to spell SEEI ball IA. You just can't put that word in there like that, Graybeard. But you're right. Anybody that's been paying attention knows. You can remove that comment, by the way. Knows that Twitter was controlled by three-letter agencies before Elon Musk bought it. The F.B.I. the C.I.A. controlled what was on Twitter, had people banned, had posts shadow banned or taken down. That's criminal. That's a violation of people's free speech. And by the way, I want to thank Wayne for going by Buy Me a Coffee, and Tom Fitton is hot. I saw that yesterday. Thank you for going by Buy Me a Coffee. So Wayne's a two-timer this week. And Pappy Two Bears, and Mike and Bev, Norm, Tammy, and Brush. Where's Brush? Brush Roller. I hadn't seen Brush. Let's see. But anyway, yeah, thanks for stop by Buy Me a Coffee to help it out. I'll put a link in the description. I'm at the, what am I at? Oh my gosh, it's already over an hour and a half of me babbling. Hour and 38 minutes. I got a link in the description for Buy Me a Coffee. It works after the live stream, if anybody's watching after the live stream. My gosh, I've taken so many notes. But there's so much going on. So much big things going on. Candace, oh, she predicted it all. Listen, I told you all to quit wasting your time watching Monkey Works night after night. Watching little cartoon planes on the screen on an app you could get on your own phone. But 150,000 people would sit there for 2 hours. Oh, this one's a whirlybird. This one's got a dirt box on it. And there's a bunch of tanker planes flying by Saudi Arabia. Oh, wow, something's going to happen. Save yourself the time. I'm going to say the same thing about Candace sewing. Save yourself the time. All right, Miss Menderson, put some booms in. Boom, boom, boom. Free booms, coffee, boom, coffee, boom, coffee, boom, 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 boom. Three booms. Yeah, thank you, Sue, for the info. The perp had a gun license. Which perp, Kim? Because, oh, no, the ones in Australia, you can't have guns. That was a no-gun zone. The whole country. Oh, Rob Sue is giving us some info. It's no bad words on there, so I will put it on the screen. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. How do I do that? There we go. There you go. How's that look? It did show up? Yeah. Several sources are saying that Rob's son, Nick, was being questioned by police. This is from Sue Lupfer. And apparently was the one who did it. Oh, my God. He struggled with drug abuse. Isn't that horrible? Oh, my God. Well, what a horrible thing. Well, if they cut off the supplies and he was wigged out on drugs, oh, that's terrible. Well, what can you do? What can you do? Were they living in California? You know, the laws, if you got somebody on drugs, you should be able to have them involuntarily committed. Now, I'm not saying, who knows if Rob Reiner would have done that to his son. It's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. Involuntary commitment. The times from my understanding, in most states, it has to be a family member or a family member preferred, but a health professional can do it also under certain circumstances. Can have a person involuntary committed, but then they have a observation and evaluation period. I think it depends on the state, 72 hours, which is 3 days. And the person that you have voluntarily committed against their will, you're going to have issues for a long time. They're going to, until they get some kind of clarity in their life, there's going to be a rift there. It's hard for people to have a loved one put in handcuffs and taken somewhere. Yeah, well, that's what they do in Graybeard. That's what they do in China. In restaurants, they have them tethered. They have knives tethered to their workstations. And you can't be walking around with one, any size. And if you work in a restaurant or a factory or a food preparation where you have to chop and dice and hack up cabbage or chickens or whatever, it's got to have a stainless steel wire tied to a workstation. That's in China. You can't have a set at home. You have to have some kind of dull, where you can cut food, but not very good. What, Stanton? Oh, you've been sewed to time now. Oh. Well, they got a help button there. You can hit the help button, and they've been pretty good about getting back if there's a problem. I've had people from other countries try to send. There's something about who is this? The asylum. We've been talking about that for an hour and 45 minutes, and we found out his son is a suspect, and that they died from KNIFE wounds. So we're a little bit ahead of you there. The easy Lum fan pages. So please stop typing in all caps, or I'll have to block you. And some of my chats are saying, stop spamming us. We're down with that information already. And that probably gave you some information. So give me credit when you go spam another channel. Tell them you heard from Mountain Man. And I put a comment on the screen from one of my people in that chats that gave us the whole update. Right here. I put it on the screen, didn't I, folks? Y'all are my witness. Let's see, how far back can I go? Sue, put it up there. Sue Lupfer, 5741. Yeah, it's in the chats. You can scroll up there and get all the news from Sue. Or you can rewind my video and you'll see it on the screen. Because we're the Mountain Man News, KNEWS. We knew already. I only got one. Make you stop. Well, don't do it anymore. I'll just block you. I mean, I don't like doing that. If you want to be part of the chats, just type normal. If you don't want to be part of the chats, and you can make some friends here, for crying out loud. Why does people want to come in and not make friends? I got stuff I still want to talk about, but I guess tomorrow's another day. Trump came out and, all right, you're out of here. I tried to be nice to you, and you just want to be a nitwit. Let's see. Let's see. You want to waste time and be a nitwit. Oh, he's got a picture of a skull with a hat. Huh. No, I don't want to show him on stage. I want to get rid of him. Mark Anthony. What in the world? Who are these people? Got some weirdo. Got a weirdo alert. All right, folks. It's almost 2 hours anyway. And I can go in here in my YouTube studio and block people. Sparky said tomorrow never comes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, Debbie's been reported them 3 times. I don't know what No, YouTube is giving me some kind of message. Some kind of message. You all are getting eyed up by YouTube. So anyway, folks. Well, what are y'all doing tomorrow night? Oh, and stop by, buy me a coffee. Thank you, Ann, for going by, buy me a coffee. I do appreciate it very much. What is wrong with these people? Mark Terry beat his father. Well, why did he do that? Huh. All right, folks. Thank you, Ann. Miss Menderson told you to have all. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ann. Thank you, Miss Menderson. Where did Wayne come in tonight? I didn't see him. I didn't. I remember shouting him out. But anyway, folks. All right, folks. ShamWow guy running for office. Go figure. That's right, Jerry. All right. Well, what do I always say, folks? What do I always say? Trump was, before I get out, I do want to give a shout out, and hopefully he's recovering well. The guy that took the weapon away from in Australia. His name was Ahmed Al-Ahmed, and he was a Lebanese Maronite Christian. The guy who very bravely ran up and grabbed that gun, and Donald Trump gave him a shout out and said how very brave he was. And they said he was wounded in the arm, so keep him in your thoughts and prayers. Ahmed Al-Ahmed, and he was a Lebanese Maronite Christian. So anyway, folks, that's why we don't automatically assume. I feel bad that, I thought they took their own lives. And I am so glad, Sue, that you were able to give us that update so that we could go out of the broadcast with correct information, as sad as it is that it looks like they lost their lives to a drug-addicted son is the possibility. We'll wait to hear other information, but what we know for a fact is that they have lost their lives. It's very terrible. So anyway, folks, what do I always say? Thank you for spending your precious time with me. And for the ones joking around in the chats, think about being a little different, You can make friends and you can get information out. You don't have to behave that way. So anyway, folks, you all have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.